Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast, where our entire focus is helping commercial janitorial contractors succeed. You want a growing company, a thriving team, and healthy profits, and we are here to help. My name is Jordan Tong. I'm the founder of Elite BSC, a company dedicated to helping janitorial companies grow and thrive. I also serve as CEO and one of the owners of France Building Services. France is a janitorial company employing nearly 600 people. Since 2007, we grew from 1.5 million to more than 20 million in annual revenue and built what I think is one of the best teams in the world. The goal of Elite BSC and this podcast is to give owners in the industry a vision of where their company can be and the information and tools to get there. I want to share what I have learned over the years to make this a reality for you.
Hey, so the topic today is strong operations leaders and why that's so important in our company. You know, as I look back at the history of our cleaning company, France Building Services, the success of our company often, I say often, almost always hinged upon the strength of the person leading the actual field operations. And when you're a smaller company, this might be area managers, and as you grow, it might be an ops manager, all the way to whoever's kind of directing the entire thing. So for us, that had been, we titled it VP of Ops or Director of Operations in our company. And anyway, that particular position oversees everything related to actually getting the job done that we do for our customers, cleaning their facilities day in and day out. And this leader, in many ways, is the linchpin of the organization. And having somebody in that seat in your organization that is thriving in that role, that is leading well, that is a strong ops leader, will only elevate your company, help you retain customers, help you be more profitable, push initiatives, on and on and on. And this is true if you're a small company and you just have one field manager, all the way up through a large company with many field managers, many regional managers, and a director of operations. Whoever's the point person or the head of the operation at any given moment of the evolution of the company is a hugely important role. And so I want us to think about that. And so what I've got queued up here is a conversation that Jeff Carmen and I had about this particular topic. And we talk about the role of the operations leader and why it's so important and critical to our cleaning companies and why it's been so critical to us and how difficult the role even can be. And we have some experience in that because I've done that role and Jeff has done that role. And it's a tough role. It's a very tough role and it's not for everybody. And then we talk about where we might, or what sort of qualities we're looking for in someone in that role, how to find them and how to screen for them, what it is we're looking for that would make somebody successful in that role. And the whole point of this is to give you a better feel for that role, for the kind of person you need in that role, and maybe how to go out and target someone to bring on board with your company if you don't already have somebody in that spot. So I think you'll find this helpful. Again, as always, if you ever need any help from us, we are always here to facilitate the growth and scaling of your organization.
Hey guys, it's Jordan and Jeff here. So today we're going to talk about the importance of a strong ops leader. So someone who's, I guess, directing your operations. So at our role historically, that had been Desmond over the last few years, someone in that sort of role. So, and I think a good analogy to maybe tee this up, it's football season, and Kentucky just whooped up on Tennessee recently.
Yeah,
it's the other way around.
Not on the scoreboard, but otherwise, yeah.
And so one of the things that's unique about football, it's maybe not so much so in other sports, is the team in many ways hinges on the quarterback. Right. So you can be. You can't be a good team without a solid quarterback. You could be a good team without a solid safety or a solid punter or whatever. But you're really going to struggle without that leader of the team in particular. And so maybe let's just, and I think this is true in our companies too. If you don't have that strong operations leader, your entire field team, which is 90% of your employee base, is going to struggle. So why do you think that's true, and why is this role so critical? I mean, do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah. I think the operations leader, whatever you call him, director, whatever it is is important. They're really the quarterback of the organization, because if you get that one done right, if that one's somebody that's skilled in that position, it does really well. And there's three reasons really. The first is you just said it. There's so much. The bulk of the people in the organization line up underneath this person, so there's a lot of influence that person has on a variety of different things, and so that's it. The next one really is that operations leader is kind of the bridge between strategy and planning. That is, strategy gets developed, strategy gets laid out, and then it's the operations leader who's responsible for executing that. And then here's the other part, and this is what's most important, and I think the quarterback analogy. Whenever operations is done well, it makes it a little easier to recruit and retain people. When it's operations is done well, it helps you grow your company. It builds your brand. So everything kind of flows through this particular leader in your organization. Yeah.
So it's kind of a ripple effect that you get this one right, and the ripples in the pond.
Yeah, that's right.
Could potentially go out a long way. So maybe let's talk about the kind of person that thrives in this role. So, and this question hits home with you too, because there was a season where you were trying to force yourself into this role, and it wasn't necessarily something that you enjoyed doing.
Right.
Not that you did a bad job, but it was tough on you.
That's right.
And so maybe let's talk about the kind of person that thrives in this role, and what makes someone a good ops leader in our industry.
Yeah, and we like the book. It's Patrick Lencioni or Lenconi, I think you pronounce his name, but a couple of different ways. He has the humble, hungry, smart, which I think is good for just about any person here. But the humble part is just that you understanding of the folks who are on our team and their ability to empathize and sympathize with their team, but also have that kind of that blue collar spirit of how they lead. I think that's part of it. I think the hungry part is they're driven to make the organization the best as it can be. And then the smart part is part of that is having some intellect, but it's also it's the ability to interact and have personal relationships with people. I'm going to add a couple more in here that are kind of outside that book, and I'm going to say competitive. And we talk about this. It's, we like competition. We like creating scores. That we like creating systems that will link outcomes to those kinds of things. And I think we want a person in this role who's competitive, but competitive in the right way. And what I mean by that is
not a cutthroat.
Right. What motivates them, and what really there's, kind of thinking two motivators. They're motivated for personal growth, but they're also motivated to see the team win. And I think that's, you have a quarterback who's all about themselves, not going to be great. But if they understand that they need to make the whole team run better. And then the last part is to be tech-minded or technology-minded. A person who comes in, they don't have to write programs, they don't have to do any of that stuff, but they need to look and understand how technology can make their job more efficient and make the operation run better. And so it's the humble, hungry, smart. Let's add in competitive and also at least technologically oriented.
Okay. No, that's good. So knowing a little bit of the kind of person that we're looking for, let's maybe segue into where we find them or how to find them. And let's start with a question that gets brought up a lot is, do they need industry experience? Do they need to come from the industry in order to be successful?
Yeah, well, I think, to answer that question, it doesn't hurt, but it's not critical. And so I guess I'd make this broad blanket. It's character trumps industry experience. And so someone who has an operational mindset outside of this industry would just be fine. So it may be somebody that's in healthcare or somebody that's in manufacturing. So just that they understand that. So secondly, we want to define success. So as a company, even as we're thinking about hiring this person, we want to be able to paint a picture of what success looks like in the organization. We want to assess leadership style. So leadership style is important. Certainly the leadership style of an operations leader, probably a little bit different than the operation than what you would have over in sales. Just core leadership strengths or traits, trust, clarity, and consistency, and then impact. It's, when these things exist, growth and retention and profitability become much easier.
Yeah. And so we're not just looking for someone that can just fill the seat.
That's right.
We're looking for someone that can elevate the seat. That can take this role and grow it and grow with the company and that sort of thing.
That's right.
And so you're looking for someone more than just someone who knows just how to oversee some cleaning work.
That's right.
Like
That's
you
right.
need someone that can really lead or quarterback that particular
Yeah.
part of the company. So let's ask this question here: Where do we find this person practically?
Yeah.
Where are they at?
Yeah. Yeah,
We
that's
went on a
right.
hunt for them.
Yeah.
And what's a good process for identifying whether or not someone fits
Yeah.
into this role that
Yeah.
we've been describing?
Yeah, and I think I would say the first thing is just be proactive. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good practice for us as leaders of the organization to be doing all the time. Just be proactively thinking about the people that you encounter in your life and build relationships in people in life, and think of that person of, man, if that person were looking for a job, would I want that person to join our company? So just be proactive. I think internally, I think we ought to be developing our folks in looking at people who might be coming up through the organization, but also, look at externally. I mean, I think sometimes bringing in people from the outside of the organization with different ideas, maybe different settings, is helpful. I think leveraging referrals. So whether that's personal relationships or other business leaders that in the area, or vendors. I mean, if you're looking for someone and you've got a vendor out there, you certainly don't want to steal people from other cleaning companies, but that might be a good source.
Yep.
Here's a little 3-stage process that I would talk. I would, and those are maybe things to hang on to, is screen for capability. So as you're bringing people in, that's the first screen that they would go through. Mm-hmm. And then the interviews then become, once you've screened for that, the interviews really become more of a, hey, does this person fit our organization? So just interview for fit. And then the last part would be validate behavior. Okay, so if you've gotten through there and you say, hey, this person seems to be kind of right on, I need to follow up with some people who have either worked with this person, worked under this person, or this person has worked for, so that we can validate if what they're saying is true. Yep. Here's a couple of, I'll just give you a couple of example questions maybe that we could talk about is tell me about a time you inherited a struggling team and how did you handle that? Or how do you build trust with your team? So those interview questions are really important. Last thing I would say is to be patient, because finding the right person in this role just takes time. And so I know there's
better to suffer for a bit longer than to quickly hire the wrong person.
Yeah, and it goes
like throwing a grenade in the organization again.
Yeah, and it goes back to let's go back to the football analogy. I mean, you could survive if you got a bad offensive guard for a bit. If you get a bad quarterback, I mean, your team's just going to suffer. And this role is, I mean, we've talked about this, and I've studied it as I've talked to people. This operations role is so critical, and especially if the person who is leading the company, ultimately leading the company, is very entrepreneurial, and doesn't really want to get into the weeds and be a part of that. And so this is the one role you really can't outsource either.
Yeah,
and so it just
true.
plays such a critical role. So yeah,
that is very true. So important role. Got to have this quarterback in the organization. Needs to be a good fit. And once you get it, it sets yourself up for your company being able to grow and be successful and do some of the other things that you're wanting to do. So I hope this is helpful. If we can be of help in this process, I know Jeff, we've helped people interview, we've helped people talk through what this looks like in their company. So we're always happy to do that. And we'll see you next time.
If you found the information in this podcast helpful, please like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you're using. If you would like more resources or help to grow your cleaning company, head over to elitebsc.com. We have loads of articles, videos, free tools, coaching options, and a lot more. If your company is greater than $500K in revenue and you want to take your learning experience to the next level, check out our mastermind group. You can learn more about that at elitebsc.com/mastermind.